Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Review. Alright, hi friends, welcome to a kind of informal video. I mean, so many of mine are informal, so I don't know what we're talking about, but if you can tell by the title, this video is going to be about all things annotating, writing, journaling, my process, what I think about it, how I learned what I know, all these things. First off, well, there's a couple things, but first off, I am by no means great at this, okay? I'm not. It's completely passion-based and completely, I like to be as organized. I like making lists, so that's what, like, the journaling half of it has to do with. I've always liked keeping lists. I've always liked keeping notebooks, and I've kept those the entire time I've had this channel. It wasn't until, hold on, let me see, 2021, or the end of 2020 that I really started with my notebooks that I've kept track of. I'm on the 5th one. I'm about to start the 6th one. So we'll get to that. And then I have been asked ad nauseum about how I annotate, what it looks like, all that. So we'll get into the secrets of what I do. I know that there's curiosity for it, obviously, because, you know, in my Patreon, I have tiers where I annotate things. People pay a good amount of money every month to have books that I annotate. You know, I've done a la carte things where I've sold books that I've annotated. So I obviously know there's a market for it. I obviously know people like it. But it is, once I explain to you how I annotate and, like, my process, maybe you'll understand why I don't have tons of advice to give or how-to stuff to give. There are much more talented people. There's a few that I will tag down below, send you to their Instagrams, who can probably give you more tutorials and more skills about being more precise or tracking certain things you want to track, right? So yeah, but this will probably end up being a pretty long video because I'm going to try to jam all of this, as I said, to do with journaling, my bullet journals, my regular notebooks, and my annotating. That's what, like, these stacks over here. We'll also look into my Outlander ones up there, are ones that I have annotated through the years and what that looks like. So I also have, you guys can't see this, we'll put this down. I have all of my supplies laid out here. Oops. So I will share that with you. Of course, I'll have affiliate links to all of the supplies I use, the stuff that is still available anyway, and that I can send you to, because I do find them very useful, whether you want to be more fancy and technical about it, or whether you just want to have fun, which, number one, that's what I highly suggest that you try to do, is just have fun. Unless you're someone who is very, like, you have a higher purpose of wanting to do that. For me, this is stress relief, and stress relief in many different ways. Stress relief in making lists makes my day easier for me, and sorry, put that up a little higher. And stress relief as I find it fun to do sometimes, but I don't necessarily have super rigid things that I'm sticking to while doing it. So where to start with? Well, let's start with how I started with it. So the most basic form of any of this that I do is my idea and notebooks and book tracking. And so before I started the bullet journals, which I do have my 3 years of bullet journals, I only started these in 2022, and then 2023 one is ending, and I just have set up the very beginnings of my 2024, which we'll look at. This light is going to make it very difficult for some of these, but we'll get to these. But what I used before I used that, and what I still use today, are my idea notebooks. Some of these are so beat up because some of these have went, well, particularly one of these has went to many trips with me and everything. But these were a notebook that I discovered randomly at Barnes & Noble. And this was the very first one I ever did. It's so cute. So I started my first one in October of 2020. So I've been doing these for 3 years now. And this was just, I barely even put any stickers on this one. This is the number 12 notebook from Design Works. And they do still sell this. You can also find it on Amazon for cheaper, I know. I had, like I said, got mine from Barnes & Noble because Barnes & Noble carries some Design Works sometimes. And what I really like about this one at the time is it has these like, again, sorry, this is going to be hard on this notebook. It has these like day and month trackers up here, which I thought was really fun when I first started it. So I could like track like when I was using it, which was cool. And for the most part, wow, I had such neat handwriting when I started at the beginning. And I wanted a place to track the books that I'd read for when I was doing my videos. So I wanted something to, this was before I started doing my like spreadsheets and everything. And when I was talking, I didn't want to forget the books that I was reading. So I would do that. Oh, that's so cool. Look, this is going to be nostalgic for me. So anyway, I would do, so this was for October. And I wrote down all the books that I read. Sorry, this is going to be hard to show. I'll put pictures in at some point, I hope. So I would just list all the books that I'd read and I would keep track. So wow, in October of 2020, I read 73 books and I would put my ratings right there. And then again, this was also before I did a spreadsheet. So then when I did my like stats at the end of each month, you know, which I do now, I would add up all my ratings so that I could film the video. So that was my like bare bones. And I would use it for keeping track of that. I would put my video ideas, like see, this one was like BDSM Rex right here. And then I would put in, see, here's one that I did. I would put a sticky note if I hadn't made the video yet. And then that's how it would go. So this one, there's no skill to this. There's nothing I need to show you in here. But these were the notebooks that I used to start with. And I have used one ever since. I actually, since I found them on Amazon, I was so happy I was able to find 2 more. Look, here's one of the Barnes & Noble ones. I was so happy I found them because they didn't have them on the website for a while. So yeah, I was happy I found more because I'm on my 5th one right here. We'll show you all of them. So this was the first one. And I also like to, because you can say like which number notebook it is and when you used it for, which was really cool to me. So yeah, that was my first one. Then there was this one. And the thing is too, I don't necessarily use one of these a year. I usually use them a little bit faster, as you'll see here. For some of these. Like this one only lasted 9 months. I started this one in January of 2022 and it went until September. And then this one, see, they're fun little, like, I put a lot of stickers on these too, which is cool. And then this one went from October to May of this year. And then the current one I'm on went from June until, it's basically done. I'm actually going to start a new one because it only has like 5 pages left to use. So those were those. And like I said, I keep a stock of these. These are 2 unused ones so that I can start the next one. So see, I've already talked for like 10 minutes about one. That was the very first level of notebook that I did. And again, this is just for me. This notebook pretty much goes everywhere with me. Like I used to put it in my backpack all the time. I would take it to work with me. I have it always right on my coffee table right here. So if I get a video idea or I see a book rec somewhere, I sometimes take screenshots or leave lists on my phone, but then I like lose them. So when I get that, they go in here. So these are my just like everything gets dumped into this notebook. I put recipes in here sometimes. I track like new patrons that I want to thank. I put like, today I'm going to do, I had sewing patterns in here. So really this is just my all notebook with cute little stickers in it. And yeah, that's what I would use for that. So those are cool. Again, I'll have lists for all these down below. And for that, I wouldn't really use any particular marker, but what I did like, I don't do this anymore, but these also have a little pen strap. So like you can, let me find one that has one. You can put like a marker in it like that, which is great. I don't like it because I can't stack anything on top of it when I do that. And now that I have also a bullet journal, I'm always carrying these around together, like they go together. So I put the pen on the bullet journal instead. But if you only have one notebook, these are great. And they range between like $15 to $20, depending on where you get it. So yeah, love those. Then for Christmas of 2021, I asked my friend to get me some bullet journals because I wanted to try bullet journaling. And my friend, Jesslyn, she always likes to get me what I want. If it's not, you know, she's like, I don't like to guess, just tell me what you want. And I was like, I would like some bullet journals because they can be a little more expensive. So the ones that she has bought me before, you can buy a 2-pack on Amazon, which again, I'll list down below. So like this year for Christmas, which these ones are ones I've used, there was a black one and a pink one in a pack, and you get 2. And so I'm actually using a pink one for the first time. I'm excited about that. But anyway, see, I'm giving you backstory for all of this, so I don't know how helpful it's going to be. But she gave me a bullet journal, and I knew I wanted to put pretty stickers on it. I knew I wanted this to be kind of like my TBR journal, and that I was going to make some like, you know, trackers for my reading goals and for my stats and everything. And I was really excited to do that. It also ended up becoming partially a scrapbook too, which I'll show you some of those pages. But it kind of evolved, and that's what I would use it for. Like this one in the beginning, I have some pictures from things I did that year. Sorry if you can see me. From when I met Sam and Crystal the first time. Crystal and I went on a hike. Like we did all this in 2022, and it was amazing. So when I first put this together, again, didn't really fully know what I was going to be like using this for. And again, I don't have good handwriting. I'm never going to be someone who can use like pretty scripts. I have a book that can teach me some hand lettering, but I'm bad at it. So when I show you these, like, just know, like, I enjoy the tracker, but you can find other people who will teach you how to draw pretty, or you just won't, or you'll find stickers. We'll get into stickers later. Stickers are cool too. But I did stuff like this. Like this was my YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter stats, which was cool. And then at one point I tracked, like, so here was my reading goal page. I was going to try to track reading authors that I own. That didn't happen. I was going to try to track authors that I wanted to read. This didn't do that at all, you know. So that's the thing that I've gotten better at, is really only making trackers for stuff I really want to do. I tracked all the arcs that I read. Sorry. See if it's showing you. Yeah, all the arcs I read in 2022. It was cool. And then, okay, so here was the first page. So back then I did a full page lay for the entire month. So I would have my TBR on one side, which again, we'll see if this will show you. So I have my January TBR over here, and I had my January wrap up over here. I have kept my wrap up, what I track, the same for the whole time. And I basically still do my TBR the same way too. I have any like book clubs that I'm going to be in, what are the new releases and arcs that I plan to read, and then viewer recommendations or other stuff I want to read. And then at the end of the month, I track the format, the ratings, the subgenres, and then my top 5 favorite. And I do that the same every time. So for the first a good chunk of the year, that's how I did it, is I would do January would be one lay, and then like February was one lay. I also track readathons that I do. I just put those in as they go, you know. So like we did the Romance Takeover readathon in January there. So this was my bingo board, and you know what I was trying to read every day that time. So that was cute. Again, I have bad handwriting, so none of this is looking super beautiful. I had YouTube and Instagram trackers that I made. Oops. This was from 2 years ago. Look at that. So those were fun. You can buy on Amazon what I had done. Oh, I didn't grab those. You can buy a pack of stencils. I do use stencils. One of these has stencils in the back. Like some they'll come with a couple of these usually. These are like the basic ones that has like numbers and stuff. But you can buy a pack that has like 50 things in it. That's not too expensive. So that's something that you can do. So I just kind of did that, and then let's see if there's anything else fancy here. Oh, when I did the SJM along, I made a whole thing for our read along that we did. So that was cool. And then something I started tracking, and I have really loved this, is I tracked all of the fan fiction that I read. So like this was page 5 and 6. And then I've actually continued tracking the fan fiction in here, even though I'm on to a different book at this point. Like here was my pretty, like this was my favorite romances of 2022. I made a huge layout for it. I will do that for 2023. But then I did like all my fan fictions, and I just kept doing that. So that's enough time on this notebook. So this was the very first time I did a bullet journal. I did not use the whole thing, right? I thought about continuing in this one until it was empty, but I had decided that every year I wanted to start its like own one. So again, as I said, I did also use this as a scrapbook. So this was from my trip to Utah and also my trip with the booktubers. So I have a little mini printer that I can print photos off of. So I used that for these different flat lays when I had fun stuff. I also went to Wanderlust. So here's my picture with all the authors and everything. And this was really beautiful. This was a really fun stuff to track, and I was really glad that I made these in here. So that was 2022. That was my bullet journal. Then for 2023, which I am still wrapping up using this one. In fact, I need to make a little note in this one because I just finished another one of my favorites. Write that in there. So this one was the 2023 journal. And again, I have cute stickers in the front, pictures in the front. This time I put my star rating and my spice rating in the front. Sorry if it's going to focus. Anyway, you probably can't see any of this. There we go. So that I could reference that as I was rating stuff. Again, I have my social media stats written down here. And like my book stats. I did this trope challenge where I tried to read a book of every trope, which I did very good with. I have my 12 recs from 12 friends challenge. Again, bad handwriting, but that's what it looked like. I had a book goal tracker. So these were ones that I did. I did do this read along for the most part, which was the ABCs of Love. So there was that. So those are all different like boards that I made. Again, I have my Instagram and YouTube goals. And again, I proceeded then to do the TBRs in here, and then wrap-ups, as well as any readathons that I did, I would track because it was fun. So I would do stuff like that. What I did change, though, is I started doing full page for the TBR so I could really cover the page. So this was an example of March where I made the TBR the whole page, and I made the wrap up a whole page. And sometimes I use prettier stickers and sometimes I don't. Again, I will show off some stickers later on and where you can get them. So I did that for this one. And this one I did try a little better to be neater because I like going back and looking at these, and I find that by taking my time and making them pretty, it's more fun to go back and look at them, you know? Like I have my favorites of April and I use these cute little stickers right here to do it and everything, and I put the tropes of each of my favorites, the page number, like all that stuff has been really fun. So yeah, this was my 2023 one, and again, I will be finishing it out pretty soon here. So here was my December wrap up. I just did this the other day so I could do my video. And here is me. I'm doing the rereads for all of my favorites right now. I just have a couple left, so I'm scoring them as I go. And then I'm going to do a double page where I do a really pretty detailed job of what all my favorites are, and that'll be the end of this one. So again, there'll be quite a bit left to it, and that might bug some people, but I like starting fresh every year. So that was my 2023. See, I've already talked for a long time. So 2024, I am going to try a lot more trackers this time, and I've been looking on Pinterest and looking at other people's bullet journals to come up with it. So I will show you what I have so far. So this is going to be my 2024 journal. I really like the stickers here. Again, I will link some of these places where you can buy from them. So yeah, this time I'm using the content directory at the front. That's new. Most bullet journals all come with one of those, or else you can make one yourself at the front page, but this one has one. So I will be tracking my reading goal, which I've already read a book, so there's my reading goal. I will track my monthly stats as I complete them. I have my 12 recs from 12 friends, and I want to track, sorry, you might not read this, new to me authors. So I'm going to be writing down new to me authors as I read them. I want to track how many pages a day that I read, and I saw this really pretty tracker that someone was using for what their mood was every day. Some people do that. I don't plan to do that, but I want to do it with pages. So I made this board. So this is a board for, like, it has the months across the top and it has the days across the bottom. And then each, like, page, so I have 200 or less will be orange. If I read 200 to 300, it'll be blue and go all the way down. I just want to see what my average pages a day end up being. That'll be maybe a little challenging for me because I don't usually track daily my pages, but it shouldn't be too hard to figure out because I usually will read 1 or 2 books a day, you know, just add up the pages, whatever. And then I will also track books, ebooks, audiobooks, and arcs. This is already something that I track. If you saw in the other bullet journals, I already always have that as something I track, but I saw someone who made actually, at Paperbacks and Planners, has some Instagram, like, stories pages, and she had this on one of those, and I was like, I want that in my journal, so I put it in there. I'm also going to be tracking fanfiction, but this time I started it out really pretty. See if it shows you. Showing you, I'm going to track on here. I tried to do some wizard handwriting. And then where we're at, and this is kind of one of the differences. So one of the things the same here is my January TBR. But this time, instead of tracking the books I finish in those notebooks, I'm going to do it in here this time. So I made teeny tiny, because the thing is I want it to fit on like one page, but I'll only be able to fit 62 books on a page, which I know, only, blah, blah. But sometimes I read more than that. So I will always leave like another page just in case I need it. But I think I've been averaging between 45 to 50, so I think we'll be good. So in this, I will just track the book that I read, and then the rating and the spice rating will be in it. So far, that is everything that I have set up in here. That is how I plan to do my one in here. I haven't set it up yet, but I'm doing the Outlander read along, so I may make a page that's about how that goes. So that's everything about my bullet journal. I just talked a whole bunch. Let me share some of the pens. Well, maybe we'll wait. No, will I? I don't know. We'll show you some of the pens. So I'll show you some of the pens that I use kind of exclusively in the bullet journal, because some of these I use for both my bullet journal and for annotating. So we can talk about that. Actually, I think I use all of them. These are some I really like. I use a lot of the midliner pens, but these were some that they have the brushes on one end and the fine line on the other end. And I like using these brushes when I do try to do fancy writing. Like I said, I don't try to do that very often, but these ones have the pen so you can do some like calligraphy with you. So these are a kind I use. The other midliners, I have a bunch of these because they've come in different packs and everything. These ones have the wide tip, which I use for highlighting. Again, this will come up in annotating. And they have a fine line on the other side, which I can use for writing notes or just for whatever. So these are another type of the fine liner, and these ones are called the double-ended point. These ones are called the midliner brush. So all of those will be in the list. So those are ones I use for that. Also, I don't even know where you can get these ones anymore. I don't know what the name of them is because I've had them so long. But these were ones that had a like wide tip on this side and a fine point on this side. Although these ones bleed a little bit. So these were some of my very first pens that I used, and I was discovering that they were bleeding through, and I was like, well, that's not going to work. So I moved on to some other kinds, which we will get into. We're going to get into annotating. This is already almost a half an hour, and I know that more of you are probably interested in the annotating than you are in this. Again, there are some stickers that I use for my books. I have the trope stickers, and I have the, like, I'll show which one has these. I have the trope stickers, and then I also have the, like, the rating stickers and the spice stickers. And I have trope stickers. I get all of those from Bree at In Love and Words. She has an Etsy shop. I've been buying stickers from her for 2 years. I love using them in my bullet journal. I literally have hundreds of her stickers. It's amazing. And then another shop I discovered, which I usually use Bree's now too, because she has these ones that say ebook, audiobook, and physical book. That's super cute. But there was this other shop, which I will link if I can find them. And they have, let me see where it is. They have these little ebook, audiobook, and physical book stickers like that. Those ones are cute too. Those are the ones that I used in this one for the tracking of audiobook, ebook, physical book. I used those. So those are different places I've gotten stickers from. And a lot of those places have trackers that are a sticker you can literally just stick in your planner. Bree always says about hers is she loves to journal, but she doesn't like to write a whole ton. So she creates a lot of stickers that you can use, and she also will sell some of them. So those are some of the stickers. We have other stickers of hers we'll get to, because now we're going to talk about annotating. First got into annotating, like I have annotated selectively every now and then. Like I had annotated a little bit in some of my like old Twilight books because I reread those so many times that I started like writing in them. But otherwise I just didn't for a long time because I was just reading so fast and I didn't reread a ton. So I didn't do it. But I got into annotating actually when I had a YouTube. In the beginning, I was following Murphy Napier, which maybe some of you know if you're more in the fantasy side or whatever. But we actually used to be like really close friends. And I was one of her patrons. And she had a tier where she would buddy read a book with you and annotate it while she did. And so I was on that tier of hers for 2 years. So I was one of the people who did that. And I mean, she's gotten really big, very busy, but I still own some books annotated by her, and they're very special to me. I actually have a couple books annotated by Jo as well, because all 3 of us were friends and we traded the books in between the 3 of us, which was really cool. And I still have those. So when I needed to go full time, I decided I would try the Patreon, which has changed my life. There's no other way to say it. My Patreon has changed my life. Thank you, patrons, so much. And I decided I would offer annotations. I knew I would have to make it very limited because I just only have so much bandwidth. But by offering those, you know, I was able to pull in some income. I still, like, there are times where I wish I maybe would have set it higher, but I didn't want to be, it's not me wanting to be greedy, but it's like, most books you buy, they cost you between $15 to $20, and then the shipping costs between $5 to $20, depending on where you're sending it. So then with your time, like, that's where you know it. But the people who are my patrons who consistently are doing it, they're consistently contributing to my channel, it does work out in the end. But when I offer like a la carte annotated books, I do charge more for those because I need to make sure that I'm making what it's worth on those ones for sure. But anyway, that's about the why that I do it. I had no idea if people would care enough what I said in the books. I didn't know if I'd do it the first couple months and then everyone would leave. But honestly, there's a few people who've been my patron the entire time. Daniela and a couple others too, Lisa and Kyan has been around a long time, and they have literally like 20 books annotated by me, which is just crazy to me. But what makes them so special? Why do people want to pay for them? And what do people want to do when they annotate? And I gotta tell you what I think makes mine special. And this is why I believe that my patrons have stuck with me for so long, who are on that level and who want to collect books with my thoughts in it. And it's because what I try to do when I annotate a book is it's like you're having a conversation with me about the book. It's like I'm reading it with you over your shoulder, which, yeah, it can get kind of awkward in some spicy scenes when I know whatever my thoughts are going to be read by someone else. And, you know, for you, that probably won't be a problem when you're doing it. But for me, I know whatever I'm putting in this book, someone is going to know what it is, right? So, yeah, when I annotate, I'm annotating like you're having a conversation with me. So I'll talk a little bit about this, but at the end of the day, I can't give you a how-to guide how to do it. I know, I'm sorry. And I know that's what a lot of people want from these. And I know other people have made them. They have the whole, like, it's color coordinated, and they do pink for the love scenes and red for plot points and blue for clues to stuff. And that is a super cool way to annotate. I think that it's brilliant. But for me, that's not how I do it. I'm annotating and like noticing things and swooning over parts that I like and like laughing out loud at stuff. And I want to mark those moments in the book so that when one of my patrons gets it, or one of my friends, like I've annotated these as gifts before too, it can be like we're sharing the experience of the book together. So that's why when I've been asked, and I've told people, because I've had lots of people ask like, oh, will you tell me how you do it? Like, what are your tips and tricks for it? And honestly, for me, I don't have them because I'm not looking for anything particular. And that's why I had shied away from this video. It's why I wanted to make it about more than just my annotating, because I don't have like things that I'm looking for when I annotate. I don't. It's a conversational thing with me because I'm annotating for other people to read them. I'm not annotating for myself on a reread, if that makes sense. If you're reading for yourself on a reread, you're probably looking for other things, right? So why is that I wanted to bring up the Outlander books? So when I read these in 2019, 2020, when I reread them, I was annotating these for a reread. So it's why I'm very excited that I'm doing the reread in 2024, because I annotated these for my eyes upon rereading it again. And you can tell these ones I use the flags in. I did. I don't use flags anymore because it feels like a waste to me. And I like literally I would have a flag on every single page, as you can see with this one. So when I was reading Outlander, like you can see on this, there's stuff all over the page. This is me picking up clues. I'm like, oh, this is going to point to this. Oh, this historical figure. And I'll like pull out things like that. And I do sometimes put flags this way when it's a super intense moment. Like this one. This is book 3. I put this flag at a very important moment of book 3. If you've read it, you'll know what I mean. So that I can be like counting down to getting it, you know? So that's what I did when I read these ones. These ones, I'm not sending these to anybody. These are for me. So all of the notes in it are for me. And it's me pointing out different things to myself. There's no color coordination, even though there's different colors here. That's because I literally had a little pack of these, and as I used them up, I switched the colors as I went. There's no rhyme or reason to this at all. It's just what I'm loving about the book, what I have to say about it, snarky comments. Again, hints at like, oh my gosh, that's going to happen further on, because I had already read these books and I was rereading them. And I wanted to see what I picked up on that I knew was going to happen. And the same goes for now when I'm going to reread these, I'm going to go in with a different color. Although I did annotate these, that is something I'll talk about. I do like to color coordinate my pens with the book. That's like my one little thing. So like this one I annotated in green. This time I'll pick like an opposite color of it so I know which one it is. So anyway, those were ones I annotated for myself. And so, come on, that makes those kind of unique within more of these, because now when I annotate the books, I know that I'm annotating them for an audience. I'm not annotating for myself. So that means that it's not that I hold back, but if I'm annotating a book I haven't read before, but someone's asked me to annotate it, okay? I am a little more careful with what I'd say, particularly because it's like someone's paying for this book. I don't want to trash a favorite book of theirs, you know? I just don't want to do that. So there have been ones that I've read that I have not liked. I've given some books I annotated 2 stars, and I really had to hold back because it's like, I'm going to be sending this book to someone who paid for it. I don't want to just say, fuck this book in it while I'm doing it. Although I have said that maybe a few times with some people. So anyway, so yeah. When I annotate, I'm usually just commenting as I go about what I love. So like, here's an example of it. Okay, so this was in chapter 13 of Heartless, and Cade leaves her a letter that says, "The coffee is for you, Red. Starting some 2-year-olds today. If you feel like getting your back broken, meet me at the barn and you can sit on one." And then Willa thinks, "Oh, I feel like getting my back broken by him." And I was like, Willa, you're such a horn dog. So like, this is me commenting on her. So that's just a little example of like, when this book gets to a patron who's reading it, they see my comments and it's like, oh, Jen was commenting on that, and they can like laugh with me and things like that. So again, I don't have a perfect example of that for you, because I'm not like, I make all of the comments purple and the sex scenes are blue and the scenes with his child are green. Like, some people do that, and I am so not judging them. I love that. I just don't have the time to do that. Like, when I'm annotating these, I am like just commenting as I go. I'm highlighting the things I think are fun. And sometimes when it's my very favorite books, which Heartless is one of them, sometimes there's books like The Takeover right here, which this one does have flags too, and then I gave up because there were so many. These are also flags. You can buy these from Brie. Sometimes it's The Takeover, and let me find it, and I have to use 2 different colors, one to represent Claire, one to represent Tristan, because the whole page gets highlighted. That's even a bad example. Damn it, I know there's one in here. Oh yeah, like the whole page is written on, and so I need to use red for Claire and purple for Tristan through this book so that people don't get confused. Because sometimes, like, if you're using one color and you highlight the whole book, it's a little confusing. So this is one that I have notes on almost every page. This is one people have picked many, many times. Of course they will, because it's my favorite. This book takes so long to transfer my notes for. So it is one of the reasons that I have gotten a little more sparing over the years, because if I really like a book, it can take a long time to transfer my notes over. And that can be a pain in the butt, you know, even though I want to share all my thoughts. So like, yeah. So that's with that. So anyway, when I'm annotating, as I said, I'm doing it for like calling out things I like. Of course, I'm highlighting favorite quotes. That happens, of course. But I'm mostly commenting on things that I want to point out to the person who's reading it, which is going to be one of my friends or one of my subscribers who has bought this book, right? So I'm not just doing it for myself. Now, one other level I want to add into this, and these are 2 examples of this, these are also some favorites of mine, is that when I do it for myself sometimes, which I did do when I first read these ones I did for myself, I do also have some annotation stickers, which I'll show you. I also got these from Brie. She has some pre-made packs, as well as you can choose the option to make personalized ones, which is what I've done, because there are certain phrases that I find myself writing the most. Like, if you have any of my books, you'll notice that I say LOL a lot. I mean, a lot of us do. I say swoon a lot. I'll say fuck that when I'm mad. And those are things that Brie turned in to these little stickers. So she came up with this idea, you know, that was something she came up with. And then I was like, oh my God, I must have it. So she made these sheets. Let me find the one that's one of hers. She made these ones that had like 7 different things on it. They had LMAO, OMG, no, I hate that, love, swoon, beautiful, and sobbing. So this is going to be hard to read it, but there were these little stickers like this. They are clear. So when you put it in the book, you like just see the color and the writing. So she made these. And I was like, holy shit, I love it. And I've used those on quite a few books. But then I wanted some made that had my favorite sayings on them so that I could use them. So I asked her to make me some, and I asked for like more of them. So this one has swoon and love, and she made me whole half sheets of it because I use that a lot. She made me ones that say sexy time and OMG because, again, I said sometimes it's awkward to comment on sex scenes in a book if you know someone's going to read your thoughts. So I would just put this little green sticker and be like, oh, it's sexy time. I'll come back when it's over, you know. I did that for quite a few books. Again, this is stuff that I don't do anymore, but maybe you'll want to do if you're just annotating for yourself. This one, I had her do one that says, what? Can't read it. This one says dead, and this one says I can't look. So those are all different sayings that I found myself writing a lot of. And then there was also, there's also this one. This one says just kiss, you know, when the sexual tension's getting bad. One that says hashtag truth, and then one that says I'm blushing. So those were also ones that I said, man, I want to use these more, but it's been busy. So those were all ones that I like had her make, but the ones you can buy, the ones that have those like 6 different sayings. And these are very reasonable. A sheet is like $3. So yeah, I have all of those. Then there was something else she made, and she actually gifted me with a bunch of these because she sent me one of my other order, and she had some of them that had like gotten off a little bit, and she literally sent me a ton of them. But she also has these emojis that you can put in your book. So they're teeny tiny, and they have a bunch of the most common emojis. There's heart eyes, there's a heart, there's flames, there's the skull, there's like throwing up, there's crying, there's a poop emoji. So all of those are really fun as well. And they might be things you want to put in your book. So those are all different stickers that you can get from In Love and Words, and she will be linked down below. Please go give her some love. Tell her Jen sent you, and check her out. So those are things that I use. And I've used those in some of my favorites. Like this is Carnal Urges, which literally I broke its spine. I have multiple copies of this one, but I literally broke its spine because I've read this one so many times. But like this one, like I used a sexy time sticker, used a love sticker over here. So I would use those sometimes. And I wish that I could do that more. I really, really do. But I have to get through the books a little bit faster than using the stickers lets me. But again, if you want to do this for yourself and for your enjoyment, I highly recommend those. I think they're really fun. And if you discover there are certain things you're saying all the time, you could ask for custom stickers to be made. Maybe you have a Cricut and you can make your own damn stickers and you can do something like that, which is great. So finally, let's get into the supplies because I have so many, and there's so many different ones that I've tried, and I'll also share a little bit about what I'm trying to do next, because I am trying to up my game on books that will be my 6-star reads, the ones that I really, really love, and I know that I will be annotating for other people. Like, I have no doubt that next year these books will get picked very often. That has happened the last 2 years. Like, I have annotated Heartless like 15 times at this point. I've annotated Carnal Urges like 10 times at this point. The books that are my favorite books, people obviously want my thoughts on them. So, you know, I have The Right Move. I'm sure that will get picked. Things like those. So there are things I've been trying to do to up my game. But the most basic things that I started with that were like the cheapest and what I used. When I very first started, I used the Papermate felt tip pens. The stuff has like worn off of them, but these are the ones that they look like that on the tip. I used these in both my journals and I use them to annotate. They don't really bleed through. Especially on like indie books, they don't bleed through too badly. I mean, you need to like write kind of quickly and not get too saggy, but I used these. Then I also used, oh, I don't have any here anymore. I don't know where those ones were at. I used basically like, well, we'll show these. I used kind of like a basic pen as well. These weren't the pretty ones, but these ones are a Papermate like gel pen, kind of, not the pretty gel pen. I have some pretty gel pens. But these ones were also something that I used. I would just underline the words and then write whatever I wanted to say. I would do that with both of these kinds. That's what I did. Then I discovered these click art markers, and these, I still love these. I have upgraded again from these, but I'll tell you how much I love them. This entire tub is these click art pens, okay? I'm obsessed with them. I will always like lean back on these pens, these markers. They are awesome. You can buy big packs of them, and I have. The thing is you do go through these kind of quickly. That's why I have so many of them. I got some of them as a gift, and so when I do, like, usually I can make it through a whole book with them, but sometimes I need two. So, you know, I've bought multiple packs of these so that I can have the same color of ones. But I also write a ton. But these are really nice, and again, these don't bleed through. These don't bleed through at all. They are zebra click art, and they just are a marker, and they poke out. This is the little one. And I loved these when I discovered these ones. Obsessed with these. I used these for almost a solid year. These were like the only ones I would use because they worked really good for underlining. You could kind of like pull it down and underline, and it would look really good. And then they also had a fine enough point that you could write your note with it. So these were kind of my all-in-one pen. I would use these for both the highlighting and the writing. So love these ones, very affordable, highly recommend. Then just more recently, probably in the last 6 months, I decided that I didn't quite like how it looked just doing the underlining, especially, you know, I showed the example of the takeover. When I would have a lot of writing to underline, it just ends up looking like a bunch of lines on the page, and you know, that's fine, but I wanted to upgrade again. So I did move on to some highlighters, and I have 2 different versions that I use this with. So I do use the midliners to do this. Like I said, they have a chisel tip, which works perfectly as like a highlighter. Oops, you're not gonna show me. Whatever, it works perfectly as a highlighter. And then on the other end is a point. So this was another one where like I could just read the book like this, and I could highlight stuff and write on it if I wanted to. Super easy. Now the thing is, again, these ones didn't bleed through as long as you don't like press, like you can do it normal and you're fine. The only thing is not all of them work well for highlighting. Some of them end up being very dark colored. I have an example of that. Let me see. Oh, this one I used the pretty orange color, so never mind. There's one of them though, I don't know where it is, but I used a like darker color. Is it this one? Here it is. And like this one, yeah, it's okay, but some of them get kind of dark, and so you can't always perfectly see through. So I had to be careful to make sure I used like a light enough colors to be able to see through. So these were a good option if I just wanted to be able to use like one pen. I could both highlight and write with those. But my current like favorite stuff to use that I now am like gonna buy stock in it because I love it so much, is I found this great brand like just at Walmart. I found a bunch of these at Walmart for dirt cheap, okay? Dirt cheap, I'm telling you. So I discovered these highlighters, and they come in a pack of 6. They have the rainbow right here, and they're called Marvy Uchida. They're pastel liners, and they have a good thick color, and they highlight really smoothly. They don't bleed through. They're beautiful. So I use this, and I pair it with Le Pen. Okay, this is my new favorite thing. It's such my favorite thing. I have all of these of it. Okay, I'm obsessed with these. These are a bit more pricey though. A pack of 10, I think this one's 10, is about like $20. They're a bit cheaper on Amazon. Compared to the pack of this 6 markers was $5 at Walmart. And this is the like second pack I went through. That one pack, I did so many books with just the one pack. So these have a lot of ink in them. They work really well. And then Le Pen, this is a fine line point. This one is a 0.3 millimeter. And it has this teeny tiny point. And I love these. I use these both in my bullet journal to do like the tiny little boxes and stuff, as well as like the little writing I need to do. And I also use these in annotating right now, and I love them. So here's an example. I'm currently rereading P.S. You're Intolerable, and I'm using this blue marker, and then I have a Le Pen that matches this, because I do like to coordinate, as I said. So you can see, like, I highlight and then I'm able to write very tiny next to it. And I just think it looks really beautiful. And like I said, the color of this is like a teal. So I paired up this like blue and a teal pen, and that's how I'm annotating this one. All right. Loving it so much. They're my new besties. Okay. I'm obsessed with it. Look, I even have another mini pack too. I love these things. The ink has been lasting pretty well too. I've only used up, I think, 3 of them. Like this one has a few empty spots. But they've been great. Again, they give you a bold color, and they do not bleed through the pen unless you're like holding them in place for a very long time. So these ones are fantastic. Really my only complaint is my hand gets sore sometimes because they are such a thin pen, but like, that's fine. My hands get sore anyway. So these, if you buy one of these annotating products, I highly recommend these. And if you pair them with these, I think that's fantastic for what you'll want to do. So that is my current, like, that is what I use for annotating as like the basics. And I think it's great because, yeah, it's so cheap. These are awesome. Now, what I've been trying to do to step it up, is trying to have some more like accent things that I can add into the book. And I'll tell you 100% that I was inspired by Brooke, or is she booked for romance? No, not booked for romance. She has like 100,000 followers on Instagram. Here's her picture. She shares these just such simple, beautiful annotations in her books. And of course, she used to be a like calligraphy specialist or something. She used to design like wedding invitations or something, I think is what she said. They were gorgeous. She had like a company doing that. And now she's a social media person helping authors and other people. And I'm just like, wow, she's so amazing. But she has all these posts about her annotations. And I was like, that is so pretty. I wanted to try to do some of that. So what she uses a lot of is glittery things. So I now have gotten into the gel pens, okay? I have now bought a whole bunch of these, and these glitter highlighters. So these are by Pen and Gear, which is the same brand as another like basic like pen that I use for stuff. These you get in a pack of 6, and these are only like $5, I think, too. These are a glitter highlighter. These ones I haven't even used yet, so they're not working, but they make a very beautiful highlight as well. But these little gel pens I've been using. Let me see if I can find an example, because I haven't used them on too many yet, but I know that I did some in Minx. Let me see if I can find it so I can show you what I'm trying to do anyway. Not saying that I'm perfect at it by any means. Okay, here's an example. So, like, I highlighted it. See if it'll work. I highlighted it, and then I used glitter underneath it, put some pretty drawings, and like did that. So like nothing fancy. Again, if you look up hers, you'll see she's miles ahead of me. But I wanted to start doing that for some, like on this side too, I did it, and I put like these tiny little hearts. Just these pretty little accents in books. I'm not going to be able to do that for all the ones I do for my patrons. These are going to be for the copies that are like mine, that I will maybe reread someday, that I want to accent. That's what I'll do for that. But you can go check out her page. She has her own tutorials on what she's pulling at. She makes these beautiful designs. I think I did, in this one, I did do a pretty one in here at some point too. I don't know where I did, but I'm trying, you know, I'm trying to up my game with that. I know I won't be perfect. Oh, here we go. Like I did a cute one. I highlighted in blue and I draw like a heart, and she'll sometimes, when it's a favorite book, like she'll do her annotation like over the top of the other words, which I wouldn't do that in a copy I was giving away. But like for me, because the books that I've bought and I'm writing in them like I plan to keep them forever, I'll do stuff like that. So, okay, I know that that was all over the place. I know I probably didn't give you the answers you were maybe looking for, but I wanted to get this video made so that when people ask me those things, when they ask questions on my Instagram, I can point them to this video and be like, hey, here's all that I got for you. This is all that I got. Maybe someday I'll have more like on point, on detail things, but for right now, I'm pretty basic. I like to have pens and markers that match the color of the book. Let's see. So like this one is like pink and purple. I would use that. I like to match the colors. I like to highlight with a highlighter and then write my notes with a pen. That's about all that I do. There's no specific things I pick. I don't do the whole, like some people do a beautiful, like again, if you check out this person, she does it so cool. She puts a whole like key in the front, which like what each color means and all that stuff. That's just not me. It's never going to be me. I'm just writing in them like we would be talking about them together. So it feels like when you read the book that you're reading it with Jen. And that's what my patrons love about it. And that's what I do. So thank you so much. If you stuck all the way through this, give me a little pen or a pencil emoji. I don't even know what's here. Give me that. Check out these products. I have affiliate links for everything. Even if you're not a huge journaler, some of these pens are amazing. And the pen and gear stuff, these highlighters, these ones here, these are all very affordable. Like I said, these ones, I got this pack at Walmart for $5. I got a pack of, there was 12 of these colors for like $10. The glitter highlighters were $5. Like you can really get some good prices on these ones. The little bit higher level of stuff is, like I said, going to be late pen, but still not that bad for a pack of 10 for it to be $20, because each of these pens like individually do sell for like $2.50 if you go to Office Max, so it's not awful. I'll have the notebooks and the bullet journals I use. Everything will be listed if you want to try it out. So feel free to drop any questions you have down below if I didn't answer something, but like I said, I am not technical by any means. This is just my basics. This is the basics that I have to share. So thank you so much for watching, friends. I love you with my whole heart. We'll see you next time. Bye.